There are really two fundamental paths. History is going to bifurcate along two directions. One path is we stay on Earth forever, and then there will be some eventual extinction event. The alternative is to become a spacefaring civilization and a multi-planet species, which I hope you would agree that is the right way to go. Yes? That's what we want. Yeah.
First was the Hope orbiter. Launched by the United Arab Emirates, Hope instantly turned the UAE into a major player in off-world exploration. Tianwen-1 blasted off to become China's first interplanetary mission. Not to be outdone, NASA then launched its Perseverance rover.
We are super excited to actually share with all of you video imagery of Perseverance landing on the surface of Mars.
Alpha indicates chute deployed.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed and we are seeing significant deceleration. We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane.
Tango Delta.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
It may come to a point that in several hundred years, we may be completely different species of people on Earth and Mars. So what would be the implications on like how humans on Mars being treated? Are they treated as another race? Are they treated as different people? Are they treated as foreigners? Are they still treated as people from Earth? Or at that point, will we classify them as Martians?
What would you do if you had an extra 40 minutes a day? Scientists and technicians in the rover team are currently adjusting their clock by 40 minutes every day to live on Mars time. There are several sidereal days and solar days. We are more familiar with the latter on in our everyday life. Solar day is the amount of time it takes for a planet to spin on its axis, so that the sun appears in the same position in the daytime sky.
Setting up a Mars colony is an interesting prospect, but let's talk about getting there. There are many factors to consider before even traveling, and one such factor that we do have to worry about is the dangers of space itself. There is an invisible threat that would impede the mission before we even step on Mars, and said threat is deep space radiation. Now, radiation in space does come from many sources, but in the solar system, it mainly comes from the sun, in the form of solar wind, emitting charged particles and ions, which can damage life. On Earth, we are protected from such threats by the Earth's magnetosphere, which deflects the particles away from Earth. Now in space, and on Mars as a matter of fact, this sphere of protection is practically non-existent.
Following a workshop in 2016, NASA collected 47 proposals for locations on the Red Planet that would provide natural resources to enable human explorers to land, live, and work safely on Mars, as well as provide a rich destination for scientific discovery. The goal is a flat area roughly 25 kilometers large, suitable for landing many supply vessels and cruise ships over a number of missions. In addition, you don't want something that's super rocky, since boulders are hazardous to landing and make roving difficult. Once safely on Mars, astronauts will be expected to have the mobility to travel long distances from their habitat to perform scientific research and harvest Martian resources for sustainability.
Now, one of the challenges of terraforming Mars is the atmosphere. As Mars's atmosphere is only 1% of Earth's, a lot of resources is required to form an Earth-like atmosphere on Mars, which is currently not present. With all the current resources on Mars itself, it can only raise the atmosphere of Mars to 7% of Earth's. Hence, it is a problem that scientists are still trying to resolve.
But eventually you can transform Mars into an Earth-like planet.
How would you do that?
You'd warm it up. Just warm it up. If you
with
want,
a blanket or with what?
It's the fast way and the slow way.
Okay. Give me the fast way.
The fast way is drop thermonuclear weapons over the poles.
How do you feel about colonising Mars?
I feel like I think it's a fantastic idea. I think we should push forward and spread our humanity throughout the solar system. I'm not sure I'd volunteer myself, but I'm more than happy for some brave soul to go, and yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I personally don't think it's a good idea. I think that like we've already got an Earth here that needs saving and help, and like there's no point in going to another one and just completely like making the whole system like go again and not do anything. We're not even like trying to resolve what's happening on Earth. We're just trying to put the same problem somewhere else, like a plaster even. So it doesn't feel like it would help. It would just repeating the same decisions that we've made on Earth.
I feel good about it. I feel like it's a necessary part of our human development that we become a multiplanetary species. I think that's the reality of where we're going.
The environmental side of things, especially how like planets at the moment, maybe people starting afresh on Mars maybe would learn how to treat a planet differently. However, they would come back to the Earth, so
It's a really good idea for the sustainability of the world in general, because the world's population is increasing a lot in the past years, and it's only expected to increase. Therefore, if the population keeps increasing, and then we might not have like enough space on Earth for everyone. Therefore, like colonizing Mars and having people going there and living there would be a good idea.
I think it's very important for humans to colonize Mars. It's just like the next advancement of the human race. It's like a second civilization that people can live in. And I think there's going to be lots of technological advancements and benefits that will come from that.
Bit concerned that then we think we don't have to sort our own planet out first.
Is there anything you would be happy to leave behind?
I think it's very difficult to define, really. I mean,
I would say maybe the good thing about being on Mars is that everyone is on the same level. There's like a sense of equality there, that like no one is like poorer or richer or has this kind of like gadget or this kind of house to establish like their wealth and stuff like that. If everyone is on the same like clean slate, then that means like maybe progression and just seeing people on the same level would appear.
for example, I love music, so if there was no form of like listening to music out there because you couldn't have the satellite, I would miss that. I know Mars doesn't have a lot of water on it, so I would miss water because I love swimming in the sea. But it would completely depend on what life is actually like on Mars, because I don't live there, I wouldn't know what I would miss.
I think the world that we live in is fantastic at the moment. So no, I don't think there's anything I'd like to leave behind or I would miss specifically, other than sort of obviously family. You know, obviously that would be the major draw to stay here, family and the easy life. But no, I don't think so.
Regardless of where we are, we could be anywhere. Life is just going to be the same, and human beings have the capability of adapting to different circumstances and different places. So living in Mars will be just a different place. As we know, there's a lot of places in here Earth that people didn't know about. Human beings will be able to live there and just have a normal life, just like the life that we're having here on Earth.
Well, yeah, there's lots of problems and issues and stuff like that on Earth. I think possibly you could say poverty and inequality and stuff like that, yeah.
Great.
Probably global warming and stuff, yeah, all sorts of issues that I think aren't really going to be a problem on Mars.
No, I don't think so. I like it.
I got this, which is, you can't really see it, but it's the paw print of my dog who died in November.
It's essentially just some Chinese New Year's Lunar New Year cookies that I got from home from Malaysia. It got couriered to me to the UK like a week or two ago.
I didn't really pick an object or anything. I picked up a photo of my grandma.
I think like this shuttle.
Because you wouldn't necessarily be able to have a pet on Mars. And that was a big part of my childhood. So it's like, that's something that you wouldn't be able to have.
So it was essentially just sitting on my table, but it just reminded me of home, of culture. Like, what can we bring to Mars? What culture are we bringing to Mars? Are we defining a new culture there, or are we bringing our predefined predispositions to things, to our morality and our thinking and our ideas and our instincts? Are we bringing those there, or are we starting to forge anew?
Because I thought I might pick up a pine cone, but I think for me, I'm a very emotional person. My connections to the world around me come from my emotions. And obviously they can be triggered by an object, but not necessarily. And I think sort of the emotional attachment to a family member and all those memories is bigger for me. And it's sort of the memories that you'd be leaving behind, and perhaps the sort of family heritage and stories and connections to what that means in your world that you'd have to leave behind, and how that would change. Like, what would family look like?
But why though? Like, in my memory is what reminds me about my time on Earth, like the quality time I play badminton with family, friends, and in school I also like train in like youth club for 2 years, and like badminton is actually like what helped me socialize and make friends. And I also think of it in terms of like sports, like, you know, sports like badminton can bring people together, like from different backgrounds, and they can also help people get along.
Well, this is a park at night. Well, oddly, there is a road right next to it. This got me thinking slightly. Like, these two things, the road, those houses, and the park, are literally right next to each other. But there is such a fine and yet clear boundary of light and dark. It's like an odd barrier of two worlds. In one, we could feel safe under the lights, yet in here, you feel less safe, like there's something unknown just beyond, just waiting over there, just beyond. It is like a barrier between two worlds, and one of the known and one of the unknown. I wonder sometimes, how would we handle this dichotomy if we ever traveled to Mars?
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man that think I am at home. Oh no, 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 I'm a rocket man, burning out the fuse out here alone. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a